Friends, Dragon's Dogma is actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. And not because big boss monsters. In fact, I've barely fought any of those. I keep dying to wolves. My pawns keep dying to water. There's just so many things out there that... Welcome back, Classy Crew, to my third journal in the Dragon's Dogma journey as I go to reclaim my heart from a dragon. Apparently that's kind of where the story is now heading. I'm 2 streams further since the last journal. There's quite a few things that have happened, and a new meme has come about from the community. So as I've shared before, there's a whole pawn system to this game where you can play with your friends or random sidekicks from other players. And so the community has banded together behind my back and has decided to make every single pawn named Zack and look exactly the same way. And I don't understand the humor. I don't understand the reference. I don't understand why Zack. But now we have created Zack is now a technique as well as a unit of measure. For example, can this survive a Zack throw? How deep, how many Zacks is this puddle of water? We find out by throwing a Zack into it, and sometimes he explodes into a pool of blood. So yeah, so going into the latest stone, there were like 3 Zacks in there, and I think the grand plan of the community, from what they've told me, is pawns find their way into your world, and apparently the more I play pawns or my friends' pawns, will go into my world. So people have been adding me on Steam, and I think the ultimate goal here is to fill my entire Dragon's Dogma world with Zacks. So I'm just going to be surrounded by Zacks, which, I mean, I guess it's funny, but it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work for a joke. So I don't understand my community's sense of humor. You guys are strange. Must be a bunch of hunting horn users. Previously, I was just kind of getting a sense of things. I was working my way to get Sir Burn to the fort. A lot has happened. Quite a bit of progress has been made. Quite a bit of dying has been happening. Not me deaths, but you'll see the counter in my counter has increased significantly in deaths because the community, once again, has decided that all deaths count. So if I'm escorting someone and they die, that goes on the counter now, which is horrendous because I'm at about 50% success rate for my escort quests. I think I've done 4 or 5 now. Half of them I've failed because they die so easily. So many things attack you, and wolves are the bane of my existence. Wolves and goblins at night specifically. If you don't get the one with the horn, they just keep spawning and they just keep coming back, keep coming for you. So let me recount my tale of Dragon's Dogma, where we're at. I think I'm at about level 30. So last time I was trying to escort Sir Burn to this like castle area, a fort in the south. So I found a tunnel that is kind of a shortcut to go through the mountains, made my way through that, found out that there was another subquest in there with some ogres, so I had to kill all the ogres to make it safe passage for all the merchants, which I'm all like, I like world building. I like making the world bigger. You want this place cleared of ogres? I got you, don't worry. So I killed all the ogres in there. Made my way to the fort, eventually encountered an armored ogre, which was different. I like this because you can actually strip the armor off of them. If you like climb the back, get behind the head, you can knock off the helmet. They've got this massive mace, you hit the arm, and eventually the mace falls on the ground. You can strip them of their armor. I love this kind of interactivity and the physics of depending where you attack, like things actually happen differently to the monster or the bosses. It's great. So I brought Sir Burn to the fort, and I thought I would have been more, there would have been more of a moment between our departure after all the times we spent together, nope, he walks off and that's it. No plot point. He's at the fort and everybody else is just like... While I was down there, I decided let's explore the map. We're by the water. There's nowhere else the land can go. It's like the edge of the map. We might as well explore it. And I came across a sword and a stone. It wasn't too legendary or anything, but I grabbed it. And there was a rock golem nearby that was like all like purple veiny. So that was an interesting fight. He had lasers and he had like glowing spots on him, and you had to climb him and hit him in the glowing spots. It was a fun fight. It was a little tedious. It took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but that's what it is. Around there, I also came across another chimera, as you have all helped me understand how to pronounce, that was sleeping. This time I did not wake that one. I'm like, you know what? We're going to let sleeping chimeras sleep. And so that's what I did. So after that, I made my way back to the town, back to the capital, explored it a little bit more, discovered a shop called the Black Cat where you can actually make forgeries. So this really changes the whole aspect of the game because you can make forgeries of key quest items and give key quest items to people and keep the real thing if you want. So, oh man, like so many possibilities are now possible because of that. I've also leveled up my vocation. I think it's called a vocation, my fighter vocation, enough that I started looking at other things I could do. And so I've decided to switch into Mystic Knight, which is a combination of a knight and a mage that's heavily focused on the shield. So you get a much bigger shield. You can cast magic on the shield so that you can get like fire shield, ice shield, thunder shield, so that when anybody touches your shield, they get inflicted with that element. You can also, I think, parry with the shield. And then you can switch out either for a sword or a wand. So I can actually cast magic now, but it's really tiny magic. So I've got a fireball, and when you use it, it's just like pew, 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 pew. It doesn't really seem to do much damage. So I really rather just use the shield and then the sword. While I was away, I also have to say, outside of the Zack trolling, community has also trolled my own pawn, Classy. So last journal, I was sharing how I didn't really like the fact that people could dress up my pawn however they want. So Classy was off on a journey somewhere, I don't know where, but you know, I sent her out. She had some like leather pants and stuff. She was pretty full dress. Comes back with like this short top and this like skirt, and I don't know where she found it, but she got some dragon forged undies, which is way more revealing than the original undies she had when she was with me. So I don't know like where in the world there is some kind of what do you call that? What is it? Is it Victoria's Secret? Okay, so in this world, is there like a Victoria's Secret, or is it like a Dragon Secret that just makes lingerie? It's wild, and I'm cool with it, but like, you know, you got to be equal. Do the dudes also have some kind of sexy underwear that I should know about? So the next thing was I had a ton of escort missions come in, one of which was bring Mercedes now to the fort. I'm like, oh, you couldn't have told me this earlier. I would have brought Mercedes and Sir Burn. Now I got to do this whole trek again. Luckily, I had a port crystal that I laid out there, so I just teleported my way there, went to the fort, and it was a really cool mission. You had to like infiltrate the fort underground, and then there were some ogres in the area. The goblins had overrun the place, and you had to kind of like just take them down, open the doors, bring in the humans, and then fight. While all that was happening, I didn't realize, I got too excited, and Mercedes died, and you know, I thought she was a key character, and I was really devastated. I was like, no, she's such an important character. She died. And then they're like, don't worry, she comes back. I was like, what? So the game is not that realistic. Sure, it gives you the consequence of your actions, but oh no, you killed the key character. Don't worry, it'll just spawn back later. So I failed the quest to protect her, but I had a fun time destroying the invasion of the goblins and taking back over the fort. Afterwards, on my way back, I was dealing with Sir Maximilian, which is the guy in the capital city who's like, before you have an audience with the king, you need to do all of my quests. And, you know, he was nice about it though. I can't hate him. So I've done a bunch of things. Like I looked into this inscription that he wanted translated. I did a bunch of monster calling. I looked into a cult, which is interesting. That was kind of like underground in the cult. There were some cutscenes, and I had to make a decision at one point. There was a cult leader, and one of the guy left him to me. He's like, do you kill him or do you let him live? And I was like, oh no, choices. What do I do? If you can survive a Zack, you may live. So I killed the cult leader. We'll see what consequences are there. There was like a bigger leader. He got away. He was like way more sinister and evil. And he doesn't like me because I'm the Arisen or something. So, you know, I have a reputation, I'm realizing. I'm learning that there's more to this whole Arisen legend than meets the eye. And there were more before me. Because I met a guy who he had a big scar on his chest just like me. He was hanging out in a cave with, I think, a pawn. And he talked in riddles. I didn't really understand, but he was like, oh, you're a baby Arisen, like me. I used to be like you or something. And he's got like this big glyph on the mountain for some reason of a soldier. So I also had to, on my way to meet that guy, I had to escort the lady I met in the witch's hut. I had to escort her to the fountain or a spring of health or something. It was right there. I could see the spring, and I got ambushed by wolves at the last minute. I did everything I could to try to keep her alive, and the wolves just kept targeting her, hitting everybody, and they got her. They killed her, and I didn't know how to heal her. So I was really, really devastated because I had fought off a previous wolf ambush that almost got me, almost killed her, but I survived. I made it back. I was like, all right, let's go. And then the second ambush got me. And I didn't think to pick up the escortee and run to the to the thing. So that's why now I'm so particular about picking up Zack and picking up, like, I just got to keep the important things close to me by picking them up and then tossing them into the poisonous water where they go and disintegrate. That's where I'm at. I've done all his quests. I've met the king now. And on my way to the king, there was a fool who like put a hat on me and he was really annoying. Really, embarrassed me in front of the king and everybody in the house, in the castle. So on my way out, I gave him a little bonk and apparently nobody appreciated that. So they sent me to jail. They took all my clothes. This game can be rough sometimes, but I got my clothes back, got back out. I learned that you do not bonk in the castle. And now I have a new quest giver who looks like a priest. And he gave me the choice to do an escort or call some beasts. I'm like, you know what? We're going to call some beasts. And I think he wants me to go fight a griffin, which I saw the griffin. I tried to fight the griffin. This was before it was a quest, and the griffin flew away. He looked pretty tough. So it looks like my next major battle is with a griffin. And let's just hope I can survive because, geez, everything is just kicking my butt or kicking my pawn's butt or my escort's butts. It's a tough time out here. So that's where I'm at. And hopefully things get better by the next journal. I'll see you either on the stream or the next journal. And until next time, keep it classy.